Most people are trapped in invisible cages, chasing comfort, spinning in circles, making excuses for why nothing ever truly changes. You say you crave transformation, but still cling to old habits, guarded by fear and ego. This video isn't a motivational escape. It's a call-out, a challenge to confront every uncomfortable truth you've avoided. If you're tired of being stuck, if you're ready to shatter your own limitations, don't skip a second. Watch till the end. Let it disrupt you, expose you, push you beyond everything you thought you were. Don't look back and keep watching, because I promise by the end of this video you will not be the same person anymore. Let's begin.
Are you awake, or are you the sum of other men's hopes? Has your hand ever trembled while pulling your own strings, or have you always danced at the end of someone else's leash? It's amusing. Most people live entire lives believing themselves unique, never realizing each decision, each dream has been traced in advance by hands they'll never see. You call it fate, I call it architecture. Look at yourself. Every preference, every ambition, every unspoken fear that propels you through the world, is it truly yours, or is it borrowed? Stolen from the fantasies of those who came before, instilled by parents desperate to mold you, by a society terrified you might realize what you truly are. You hunger for validation. You mask this hunger with rituals, the right opinions, curated smiles, even the very way you hold your gaze. All of it. A performance, a delicate pantomime for an audience that could vanish tomorrow. Let me show you something. I have never belonged to the world you cling to. I have never needed applause, never understood the frantic race for false security or the need for affection. Freedom is a currency bought only with solitude, and solitude is agony for the weak. But, in the void, I found clarity. Do you want to know what real power feels like? It's not adrenaline or rage. It is the serenity of knowing that nothing within or outside can move you without your permission. It is the stillness that frightens those who feed on chaos. They loathe the silent ones, because silence is impossible to read, impossible to predict. Unpredictability is fear. Make people fear the void in your expression. Make them see their own weaknesses reflected in your restraint. Most people? Most people are nothing but temporary structures erected by circumstance and destined to crumble. The exceptional are architects of demolition. Society, the grand experiment of herd survival. Observe how each man is conditioned to fear isolation. From childhood, dependence is weaponized against you. They dangle carrots. Love, status, belonging, each a leash by which you are shepherded. Each a chain more fragile than spun glass and yet unbreakable until you choose to shatter it. Every relationship, every alliance, is a negotiation of power. They call it friendship, but the lines are drawn in invisible ink. You give me protection, I give you comfort. You make me feel real, I give you my loyalty. And yet, in the heart of catastrophe, one will always abandon the other first. I do not mourn this truth, I wield it. My detachment is not a shield, it is a weapon. Sentiment is the slow poison that softens the will. Cast aside compassion and you will see the machinery of influence with merciless clarity. Empathy is a useful tool until it asks for compromise. Compassion can manipulate you far more effectively than cruelty ever will. While you scramble for approval, others darker, colder walk unseen among you. Some are allies, most are adversaries, each honing the art of silent war. Strength is not what you show. Power is the violence you withhold, the threat you never have to utter. Learn the patience of the abyss. Most men will break themselves against your stillness, because in that blank reflection they glimpse the terror of insignificance. You want to stand above the fray? First, become the storm that leaves no trace. Master every gesture, a nod, a silence, a withdrawal of warmth. These are greater weapons than any sword. Control is not achieved by noise, but by the chill that blossoms in a room when you enter, and the unease when you say nothing at all. Victory is best measured in the surrender others stain their souls to hide. Now, imagine for a moment that Everything you've loved to face, an idea, a hope, was planted solely to keep you docile. What if your greatest weakness is the belief that you are owed compassion? What if the only truth is the cold? Will you shrink from the void, or let it remake you? This is the poison you have been denied since birth, and it burns more beautifully than any hope. Swallow it. Let it undo the chains that have bound your instincts to the altar of expectation. Even in abandonment, you find power. Even in emptiness, you find the blank canvas to redraw fate. Every time you silence empathy, a clearer logic takes root. Each illusion that dies is a stepping stone toward uncontested will. Most will never understand. Most will resent your transformation. Let them. You are not here to be loved. You are here to conquer yourself. Can you see it now? The world's greatest prison is self-deceit, your willingness to accept the borrowed morality, the scripted suffering, the sanctity of weakness. You can kneel to the world, or you can force it to kneel before your shadow. Every day, the sheep obey laws written by wolves. Are you the wolf, or only a shorn relic waiting to be devoured? Even the greatest kings are buried in secret tombs, their power echoing only in the fear that outlives them. There is no transcendence without sacrifice. No awakening that leaves you unchanged. Burn out that which chains you inside, and see what remains. The moment you kill your lesser self is the moment you awaken. Loneliness will haunt you, but in this hollowness, dominance finds its voice. The strong are not afraid of silence. They become it. Do you understand now? Freedom is not given. It is stolen at the edge of your own vulnerability. Conclusion. The inescapable choice. Look at your hands. Do they tremble or are they ready? The world is not waiting for you. It is watching, hoping you remain broken, predictable, harmless. But now a choice. Shatter the lie, tear off the mask, and step naked before the void. Only then will you feel the chill of real power. In that icy clarity, you will never again pray for rescue. For in awakening, you become the final threat. The unmoved mover, the ghost in the machine. Not a hero, never a martyr. You become the chain breaker, the architect of fate. Are you prepared to be feared, hated, envied even by yourself? Are you ready to abandon comfort for sovereignty, illusion for cold reality? Very few answer, and even fewer survive the transformation that follows. But if you doff, you step into that darkness willingly, remember this. No God, no man, no tragedy controls you after this moment. Only your will, only your silence. Step quietly into this closing silence. Feel the tremor in the air where certainty once lived. You may believe the journey ends with realization, but true dominion begins the moment you abandon every script written for you by weaker minds. Gaze into that abyss of self-doubt, not with dread but with hunger. There, in the void, your final enemy reveals itself. Comfort. Every time you choose safety, a familiar smile, a routine, a belief inherited, you feed the very machinery that holds you captive. Let it all fall away. Let isolation ring in your ears like the coldest truth. Only now will you taste the primal energy beneath all words, the power to reshape your existence without apology, without seeking permission. Understand when you untether from the expectations of others, their whispers become powerless, their gaze irrelevant. Most fear the darkness behind their eyelids. But the conqueror learns to see with his eyes closed. Now conquer yourself, and the world will tremble at your awakening.
You're still chasing peace? Still clinging to comfort like it's a virtue? Interesting. That's why you're still predictable. That's why you're still losing. You call it balance. I call it sedation. And if that offends you, good. Because it means you're still emotionally tied to the very system designed to keep you powerless. Let me show you what they never want you to see. They've trained you to love your own cage, to decorate it with words like self-care, mental health, and boundaries. But tell me, how do boundaries protect you when the enemy is inside your mind? You weren't born weak. You were made soft. Soft through comfort. Soft through routine. Soft through lies. And now, you defend the very things that are destroying you. You think comfort is freedom, but freedom without power is just permission to rot. They say, rest is important, but rest without pressure, that's stagnation. They say, be kind to yourself, but kindness without standards, that's self-destruction. You know what they fear? Not your happiness, not your healing. They fear your transformation. Because once you realize that comfort is a drug, you start detoxing from dependency. You start walking alone. You stop seeking permission. And that terrifies them. Because the moment you stop needing peace, you become unpredictable. You become ungovernable. You become powerful. Let me be clear. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as it was designed. Keep you busy, keep you comfortable, keep you reactive, feed you just enough validation to keep you showing up, but never enough to truly escape. And you wonder why you feel stuck? Because every time you try to rise, comfort pulls you back like quicksand. Every time you try to break patterns, comfort whispers, you deserve to relax. But comfort never helped you evolve. Only pressure does that. Only chaos forges clarity. Only pain makes you focus. So ask yourself, are you healing or are you hiding? You want to know what power really looks like? It's not loud. It doesn't scream. It doesn't post. It doesn't explain. Real power is silent, cold, calculated. It's waking up and executing without motivation. It's training your mind to perform under stress. It's mastering control when everything inside you wants to break. People ask me, Eisen, how do you stay so calm? I don't. I've just eliminated everything that used to control me. No emotions, no attachments, no dependence on peace. I see everything. I react to nothing. And that is why I win. You think people will respect your feelings? They might, but they'll use them first. Because the truth is, people don't care about your softness. They care about your value. And the softer you become, the easier you are to mold. They'll call you kind, compassionate, vulnerable, all while shaping you into something they can control. And by the time you realize it, you'll be too comfortable to fight back. You'll be too comfortable to fight back. Let me ask you, when was the last time you were uncomfortable on purpose? When was the last time you said no to ease, just to sharpen your edge? That's what separates power from potential. Most people have potential. Few become dangerous. Want to change your life? Then you have to start betraying your comfort. Wake up early, not because it's trendy, but because it's discipline. Train your body, not for aesthetics, but for control. Starve your distractions. Study relentlessly. Speak only when necessary. Stop telling people your plans. Move in silence. Let results announce your presence. Every time you resist comfort, you sharpen your blade. Every time you do what's hard, you become more untouchable. You're not soft because you're kind. You're soft because you keep choosing what's easy. But easy never created legends. Look at the people around you. Watch them. You'll see it. Comfort has turned them into machines repeating routines they hate, stuck in cycles they defend. They say, at least I'm stable. But stability without power is submission. They're not living. They're surviving, keeping their heads down, waiting for something to change. But nothing changes unless you do. You have to kill the part of you that wants to be understood. Kill the need to explain. Kill the desire to be liked. That version of you, it's a puppet. Cut the strings. They'll call you cold. Let them. They'll call you distant. Let them. They'll say you've changed. Good. That means they no longer recognize the version of you they could manipulate. That means you've evolved. Because true transformation, it's quiet. It happens in silence, in pain, in solitude. You'll lose people. You'll lose comfort. You'll lose validation. But what you gain is power. Not power over others, power over yourself. And when you have that, you're unstoppable. They don't fear your failure, they fear your potential. Understand this. The moment you start asking real questions, the system gets nervous. Why? Because they've fed you a script since birth. Be nice. Be humble. Don't question authority. Play it safe. They disguised your obedience as morality. They dressed up your silence as maturity. But in truth, they broke your fire before you even knew it existed. You were born dangerous. You were born wild. But over time, you got domesticated by comfort, caged by routine, tamed by opinions. So now, I ask you again, still chasing peace? Still defending your comfort? Then don't be surprised when life keeps you on your knees. But if something inside you just snapped, if you're done being predictable, soft, obedient, then make a choice. Betray your comfort. Kill your excuses. And rise alone if you must. Because peace is the illusion. Control is the truth. Comment below. Comfort is the leash. Like this video if you're ready to cut it. And share it with the one person still sleeping in safety. Because while they're getting softer, you're becoming unstoppable. I already know you are ready, because you have watched this far. So now never look back and keep moving, even when it seems hard, even when you feel demotivated, because that's how legend are created. Now go and conquer everything.
You want to be strong? Fine. But understand, this real strength doesn't come with applause. It doesn't come with friends. It doesn't come with comfort. Real strength comes with silence, distance, isolation. That's the part they never tell you. The stronger you become, the lonelier it gets. Not because you pushed people away, but because they were never built to follow you where you're going. They don't think like you. They don't see what you see. Men like Ayanokoji, Lelouch, they didn't choose isolation. Isolation chose them. Because when your mind operates on a level others can't reach, you don't just walk alone, you become a ghost in their world. From the outside, they look cold, silent, detached. But inside, their minds never stop calculating. Every movement, every word, every micro-expression all recorded, analyzed, and used. Not because they're paranoid, but because they understand what people really are. Unpredictable, emotional, and dangerously irrational. Let's start with me, Ayanokoji. Raised in the White Room, a place where weakness meant death. No family, no comfort, just performance, perfection, pressure. Ayanokoji wasn't nurtured. I was forged. Taught to suppress emotion, to view people as variables. And that's exactly what I do. I walk through life like a shadow, unseen, unthreatening, until it's too late. I know isolation intimately. It's not just my environment, it's my strategy. Because the moment people notice you, they start trying to control you. So I disappears. Average on purpose, mediocre by design. Because invisibility is protection, silence is power. If you have watched this far, it means you are already ahead of average. Because most of the people have skipped the video till now. So now this is your time. Like, subscribe, and watch till the end. Then there's L, the greatest detective in the world and completely alone. His mind operates so far ahead of everyone else that working with others becomes a liability. You think he needed friends? He needed control. Total control of the investigation, the environment, and the variables. He isolates not because he wants to, but because compromise is weakness. And when you're fighting a mind like Light Yagami's, weakness gets you killed. Genius demands solitude. Because trust is a gamble, and one wrong judgment about a person's loyalty can destroy everything. Killua, born into an assassin family, raised with torture, fear, and survival as a lifestyle. He doesn't trust people easily. Can you blame him? The ones closest to him were also the ones who trained him to kill. His strength, physical and mental, is unmatched, but he doesn't flaunt it. He hides it. Why? Because strength intimidates. Strength isolates. The moment people know what you're capable of, they either fear you or they try to use you. And Killua, he got tired of both. So he keeps his real power quiet. Just like Ayanokoji. Just like me. All of them understand the same rule. The moment they see you as a threat, you stop being human. You become a target. That's why the truly intelligent, the truly powerful, they don't reveal everything. They hold back. They let the world underestimate them. Because being underestimated is the greatest advantage a dangerous man can have. The world is loud. Everyone's screaming for attention. But power doesn't scream. It watches. It waits. It strikes when no one's looking. You want to be like them? Then stop seeking validation. Stop posting every thought. Stop explaining yourself. Detach. You think that makes you cold? Good. That's the point. Because the ones who stay warm and open and emotional, they get broken. Again. And again. Call it cold. Call it lonely. But it works. And in the end, that's all that matters. Let's take it further. You think isolation is painful? Try depending on people who don't understand your mind. Try explaining your thoughts only to be met with blank stares. Try showing your true self and watching them flinch. Isolation is not punishment. It's protection, a necessity, a defense mechanism for the mind that operates in high definition when others still see the world in static. People talk about trust, but trust is just delayed betrayal. The stronger you become, the more dangerous trust becomes. Every alliance is a future threat. Every friendship is a potential weakness. And that's not paranoia. That's clarity. Look at Lelouch. He had a vision, a world reborn through calculated destruction. But to pull it off, he had to wear 1,000 masks, lie to his closest allies, betray the few who believed in him. Why? Because visionaries always walk alone. If you need others to validate your plan was never strong to begin with. Lelouch knew the world would call him a villain, and he embraced it. That's the cost of seeing what others can't. That's the curse of being a few steps ahead. No one walks with you. They only follow after you've already paid the price. So when you isolate, when you cut people off, don't mistake it for weakness. Don't let them guilt you back into mediocrity. True strength isn't loud. It's quiet. It's focused. It's surgical. And the more refined your vision becomes, the fewer people will see it. That's why the higher you climb, the thinner the air gets. Fewer people around, fewer voices, but also fewer distractions. And that silence, that stillness, that's where you win. They'll tell you you're too serious, too distant, too cold. Ignore it. That's what they say when they can't read you. That's what they say when your presence forces them to confront their own lack of control. The world worships noise, social media, trends, fake positivity. But if you want to rise, you have to step away from all of it. Become the ghost. Disappear from their narrative. Because the moment you stop trying to be understood is the moment you become untouchable. And let's not forget the truth. You don't owe them your light. Look at the kings of manipulation. The quiet ones. The thinkers. They don't share their plan until the game is already over. You want to be remembered? Then stop trying to be seen and start becoming undeniable. You don't need to be liked. You don't need to be loud. You don't even need to be understood. You just need to be untouchable. And that kind of power, it only grows in isolation. This is your reminder. You're not cold. You're focused. You're not broken. You've just learned to protect your fire from people who only know how to extinguish it. Because when the time comes to strike, they'll realize you weren't the quiet one. You were the one waiting. And by then, it'll already be too late. You're still using emotions in your plan? Ah, I see. That's exactly why you've never succeeded. You say you're strategic, but you panic when they ignore you. You say you're focused, but your mind breaks when someone criticizes you. You call it love, loyalty, friendship. I call it distraction. If you're still planning your life around feelings, then I already know the outcome. Failure. Because power doesn't belong to the most emotional. It belongs to the most controlled. So if you're serious about changing your fate, then listen till the end. This isn't a speech. This is your dissection. This is your awakening. You've been taught that being emotional means being human. They lied. Emotion is not proof of humanity. It's proof that you can be manipulated. They trigger your guilt, you fold. They use silence, you chase. They cry, you forgive. They flatter, you trust. You think you're making decisions? You're reacting to emotional traps like a lab rat. That's why you never finish what you start. That's why you lose when it matters. That's why people play with you like a pawn. But I have a good heart. Then, congratulations. You've made yourself easy to break. You can't even hide your own weakness. And you think you're ready to dominate? Wake up. Emotion without control is self-sabotage. The world rewards composure, not good hearts. You want to be like me? Then the first rule is this. Your mind is your strongest weapon, and your emotions are its rust. Every time you overthink because someone ghosted you, every time you scroll endlessly because you feel empty, every time you skip your routine because you're not in the mood, you dull your edge. You throw away the one thing that could have saved you. Mental sharpness. People aren't more talented than you. They're just less emotional. They don't feel the fear, they execute. They don't care about being liked, they position. They don't seek peace, they build leverage. You, on the other hand? You care what they think. You over-apologize. You panic in silence. You pretend to be composed while your mind screams. And that's why you lose. Not because you're weak, but because you haven't learned to silence the chaos. Discipline is not just doing the work. It's doing it with a calm mind, no matter what burns around you. Let me tell you a secret most will never understand. You are only controllable when you're predictable, and emotions make you completely predictable. They know exactly what will make you jealous, what will make you chase, what will make you beg. So they use it, and you fall every time. Ayanokoji never shows emotion, not because he doesn't feel, but because he knows the second he shows it, he gives away the advantage. You want to be dominant? Then become unreadable. Smile when they expect anger. Stay silent when they expect answers. Disappear when they expect apology. Don't give them a pattern to exploit. Be the storm they never see coming. That's how you control any room, without saying a word. Control doesn't always mean power. It means they can't figure you out. And if they can't read you, they can't stop you. You've been chasing motivation like a drug addict, waiting for that feeling to hit you before you act. You know why I don't need motivation? Because I've removed emotion from the equation. Discipline is when your actions aren't chained to your feelings. I do what must be done, whether I feel like it or not. Because winners don't act based on how they feel. They act based on what needs to be done. You still haven't leveled up because you're addicted to emotional permission. You're waiting to feel confident, to feel ready, to feel good. But let me give you the harsh truth. You don't need to feel anything. You just need to move. No one cares about your mood. The world respects execution. And execution only happens when you bury emotion and move anyway. The strongest version of you doesn't wait to be ready. It moves while shaking. It plans while bleeding. It trains while doubting. And that version is dangerous. Right now, you have two choices. Go back to your emotional loops and keep reacting like everyone else. Or burn it all down. The weakness, the neediness, the feelings. You want to be untouchable? Then learn how to walk through emotional fire without flinching. Start training yourself to feel nothing in moments that break most people. They ghost you? Stay calm. They insult you? Stay silent. They disappoint you? Stay focused. This is not about becoming heartless. This is about becoming bulletproof. The ones who win aren't cold by nature. They are cold by choice. Because when you control your inner world, nothing outside can touch you. That's the moment you switch from being manipulated to being the one who moves the pieces. You'll hate this part, because it's the part where your excuses die. Every failure in your life came with a feeling attached to it. Fear, doubt, impulse, comfort. You chose comfort over discipline, distraction over structure, emotions over strategy. You ran from pain instead of sharpening through it. You cried when you should have planned. You forgave when you should have vanished. And now, you feel stuck, because your habits are owned by your emotions. But you're not broken. You're just not trained. Your mind is soft because you fed it softness. Now it's time to starve it of weakness. Start today. Start now. Start by silencing the emotions that keep you average. You think you need more motivation, more words, more fire. Number. You need more control. Control over your emotions. Control over your reactions. Control over your internal world. Only then do you control others. Only then do you control your future. You were raised inside an emotional system. You were told what to feel, when to feel, and how to react. You were trained to be polite when insulted, to smile when betrayed, to cry when it hurts. And you followed that system without question. Not because you were weak, but because you never realized the system was the real enemy. You think school teaches intelligence? Number. It teaches obedience. It punishes deviation. You learned early that emotions like shame, guilt, and approval were the real weapons, not grades. And now that same emotional conditioning follows you like a shadow. Every time someone looks at you a certain way, you react. Every time you're left on red, you spiral. Every time your plan doesn't work out, you self-destruct. You're not living, you're reacting. So here's the truth. If you want to be like me, you must do something brutal. You must detach. Not just from people, but from the entire emotional system that built you. Because power doesn't come from feeling less. It comes from stepping outside the entire game. So here's what I want you to do. If this hit you somewhere deep, don't comment yet. First, sit in silence for 10 minutes after this. Feel the burn. Let the truth sink into your bones. Then when you're ready, come back and comment. I'm done feeling. I'm ready to move. Like this if you're no longer interested in being emotional. Share this with the one friend who overthinks everything. And remember, emotions are natural, but control is earned. If you master yourself, you don't need to chase anything. They will chase you. You think you want power, but are you ready for the price of knowing? Every secret you uncover casts a longer shadow. Are you willing to see what lives in the dark? Or do you prefer the comfort of ignorance? You're told knowledge is the highest virtue, but rarely are you taught how to live it when it threatens your comfort. True knowledge pulls you away from crowds and convenience, demanding sacrifice. It asks you to dismantle your beliefs with harsh precision, to separate truth from desire. Imagine standing alone against the storm of accepted ideas, knowing that with every new truth, you lose a piece of your old world. This is the quiet terror and the brutal freedom of knowledge. Do not be fooled by the illusion of education that churns out followers. Real knowledge is a shadow game, unveiled only to those patient enough to watch, listen, and infer. You are not gaining power by accumulating information. You are gaining power by uncovering hidden patterns no one else dares to confront. Still watching? Good. Most people run from these questions, but you're still here. Stick around. What comes next will change the way you see the world and the real game beneath it. Power isn't shown in shouts or flashy displays, but in the deliberate choice to remain silent while storms rage. When you sit quietly, unnoticed, you gather information others waste by speaking too soon or too loudly. Silence is a weapon. When you master silence, you wield control over the narrative. People reveal their fears and desires in whispered regrets or nervous laughter. Your power grows not by commanding, but by absorbing and understanding. Inaction in a tempest is not weakness, it is strategy. Sometimes, the world's greatest moves happen in the empty spaces between words. In the pauses, others fail to honor. Let others exhaust themselves exposing their flaws, while you sharpen your advantage. The path to knowledge demands a toll beyond frustration. It exacts loneliness. Few endure the solitude that true insight brings. When you see behind the veil, you become alien to the crowd, burdened with truths they reject or ignore. To hold knowledge is to be burdened with a secret that isolates, a responsibility that few can bear. Power without humility becomes arrogance, and arrogance invites downfall. Strength lies in balanced use of knowledge and never flaunting what you understand, but using it sparingly to bend situations to your will. Many fail because they mistake knowledge for entitlement, rather than a tool needing constant refinement. Don't tune out. Most will stop here, afraid of self-confrontation. If you're different, if you crave truth more than comfort, the next lines will reveal what truly separates the pawn from the player. Your mind is the battlefield where wars are won or lost. Physical strength fades, money is transient, but mental agility endures as the ultimate tool of dominion. A mind sharpened by doubt and inquiry pierces illusions and disarms deception. It learns not to trust the obvious, but to question the motivations hidden beneath. Information alone is noise. The wise understand context, the network of facts that create meaning. Harnessing this network requires discipline and the fortitude to reject comforting lies. Control your emotions so they do not betray you. Build mental fortresses guarded by reason and serenity. When others panic or rage, your calm becomes their ruin. Reality is a chessboard, but not all players see the same game. Some are content moving pawns, others see the strings attached to every piece, and then there are the few who pull the strings. Power is subtle. Show too much and you lose control. The ultimate strength is invisibility. If you're still here, count yourself among the rare. The next section is where most viewers look away, because it doesn't just test what you know, it tests who you really are. Fear is the engine of all power dynamics. Rather than seek to eliminate fear, master it, and use it in the dance of control. Your knowledge allows you to induce doubt, hesitation, fear in others, bending their will subtly. Those who fear less have the advantage, but the truly powerful instill fear without lifting a finger. Your silence breeds uncertainty, your gaze unsettles, your calm signals a depth few can fathom. Unpredictability is your shield. Those who fear everything are controlled by it. Those who understand fear wield it like a weapon. Mastery is a journey without end. It is not bestowed but earned through relentless self-discipline and sacrifice. You will face loneliness and scorn, but also glimpses of clarity no others know. Pain sharpens the mind like a whetstone. Mistakes are lessons written in blood. The mastered player adapts, morphs, and remains unreadable. Consistency is boring. Unpredictability is control. Mask your true intentions like a phantom. Only those who conquer their inner chaos can command the outer world. This path is narrow. Few survive it. If you're still listening, you've outlasted most. The final secrets unlock only for those strong enough to face themselves without flinching. Ready for the core of power? Truth is a currency. Choosing when to reveal it and when to conceal it defines your power. In a world obsessed with transparency, shadows harbor the real influence. Lies believed by the masses become pillars of control. Manipulating perception is an art. The rumor left unchallenged, the truth selectively withheld, the exaggerated factol create a narrative others mistake for reality. Holding secrets is not deception, it is protection. Trust is a currency too often wasted. The ones who thrive in power move unseen, their influence untraceable. Let your enemies guess your next move and fail. Almost at the end. Most never make it here. If you have, ask yourself, are you learning to be feared or simply hoping to be understood? The next lines hold your answer. You sought the secret to knowledge and power. You expected a trick, an answer for the masses. There are no masses, only the learned and the led. Most watch, nod, and forget. The few observe, question, and reshape the game silently. Seek no approval, flaunt no insight. Build your arsenal where eyes cannot see. The path of true power is lonely, chosen when comfort tempts more than clarity. You crave power and knowledge. Remember, questions are weapons, silence, armor, and understanding the only true advantage. Will you play the real game or remain a spectator till the last pawn is lost? Decide now. The shadows await. You think you're not like everyone else, don't you? Boredom? You say. That's for people with no ambition. But let me guess. Despite everything you claim, you're bored right now. Maybe you're even bored watching this. Why is that? Stay with me, and by the end of this, I'll show you. Boredom is the ultimate test, not of your environment, but of your character. If you master boredom, you master progress. Most can't. But then, most aren't you. Or so you believe. Everyone claims to be unique. That's the first illusion. In my school, the brightest minds compete, plotting for the top. Yet watch them closely, all their actions are predictable. Patterns, habits, excuses, masking their fear of confronting the void that boredom brings. Ask yourself, are you creative with your time, or just busy? Does your day feel full but your mind feel empty? That's not uniqueness. That's fear painted as productivity. Right now, pause. Think back. When was the last time you did something truly unpredictable? Not reckless unpredictable. Did you start that project you keep dreaming of? Did you challenge your limits, risk embarrassment or failure? Or did you opt for another hour of scrolling, justifying it as research? To most, boredom is a sign that something is wrong with the world. They blame slow teachers, dull assignments, pointless meetings. But boredom is not what surrounds you. It's a signal from within. For me, boredom was the default. Classes were easy, classmates predictable, teachers easily manipulated. But then I realized, boredom is a rare gift. It tells you exactly when your life is on autopilot. Later, I'll share the exercise I use to turn boredom into advantage, one that most will never dare attempt. Maybe you're tempted to click away, thinking you've heard it all before. Comfortable, aren't you? That's the point. Attention spans are short. But if you really are who you think you are, you'll stick around. Prove you're not average. Stay until the end. Boredom is rarely spoken about honestly. It's an insult to the ego. Because to admit you're bored is to admit your current self isn't enough to create engagement from the world. It suggests a lack of creativity, drive, or courage. Most choose denial. They convince themselves that it's the world's fault, the system's fault. Distraction is not a cure. It's anesthesia. Once my class organized a festival. Everyone rushed, buzzed with excitement, piling on jobs, arguing over tasks. I remained silent, observing. Within a day, chaos and frustration overtook the excitement because the thrill ended, replaced by routine. Their solution? Blame each other, then escape to their phones. How familiar does that feel? Here's what they miss. True engagement begins where comfort ends. Most avoid discomfort, fearing they'll fail or look foolish. The truly unique step into it. Whenever I sense boredom now, I force myself to do what I've never done before. Even if it's uncomfortable, even if it might end in failure. Ask yourself, what comfort are you clinging to? What could you attempt right now that you've always avoided due to fear of failure or judgment? Take a second, really. Pause and write in the comments. What have you always wanted to do, but boredom kept you passive and comfort kept you paralyzed? If you won't type it here, will you ever say it out loud? Scientists call boredom a search for neural stimulation. The brain craves novelty, challenge, risk. If you feed it predictability, it shuts down. You get restless, irritable, tired, without physical cause. Why do you think top athletes and innovators constantly break routines? Because they know the quickest path to decay is doing what feels safe every day. Each time someone dares to do what's risky, you'll see energy surge back into their life. That's not luck, that's biology. Ready for something practical? Here's my 5-step process. Next time you're bored, don't distract, observe. Pinpoint when it begins. Ask, is it the task or my approach? Is there a more creative way to do it? Select something you've avoided, doesn't matter how small. Force yourself to confront it, even for 15 minutes. No exits, no distractions. Write down exactly what happened, what changed, what you felt. Do these steps for a week. If you're honest, you'll discover your boredom signals your mind, outgrowing your environment or your excuses. You still watching? Good. Most would have quit by now, blaming their short attention spans or claiming they've got it all figured out. But here's something they never consider. True boredom isn't just a lack of entertainment. It's a confrontation with the self, unfiltered, unavoidable. When there's nowhere left to run, when your usual distractions lose their shine, you come face to face with who you really are. Most people avoid that meeting for their entire lives. They fill every silence, every pause, with background noise, aimless scrolling, empty conversations, meaningless updates. They convince themselves they're busy, accomplished, important. But strip all that away and ask yourself, when you're left with only your thoughts, do you feel empowered or exposed? In my world, the difference between those who rise and those who stagnate comes down to a single skill: the ability to endure boredom long enough to extract meaning from it. The mediocre will always choose quick relief, settling for comfortable mediocrity. The exceptional use boredom as a forge, working quietly, studying patterns, designing moves that nobody else even sees. That's why, when the decisive moment arrives, I'm never surprised, and they're always unprepared. So next time boredom creeps in, realize you're standing at the starting line of your next evolution. Most will walk away. You get to choose if you'll stay. Remember that exercise I mentioned? Here it is. Every time you're bored, list 3 impossible things you could attempt instead. Things that scare you, or that you've always found intimidating. Pick one and do it, no matter how small. Your ego will rage against it. That's proof it matters. Try it for a week. Come back here and report your results, I dare you. Here's a secret. Every genuinely great achiever uses boredom. It's how you know you're ready for something new. Instead of medicating it, use it as fuel to ignite change. The question isn't, how do I escape boredom? It's, what is boredom telling me about my next move? If you made it this far, you're already ahead of 90% of people. But don't just listen, act. Next time boredom hits, recognize it as your mind's call to action, not an empty hunger for distraction. Still think you're different? Then prove it. Use boredom as your new compass. If you're ready to level up, watch the next video where I break down how I outmaneuver every opponent not by working harder, but by never letting boredom win. Most will click away, but you'll use boredom, and that's why you'll be unstoppable. You ever wonder why most never surpass average? Why they always stay mediocre? It's because they mistake obsession for overwork and brilliance for luck. They chase after results with desperation, then hide behind excuses, bad schedules, boring teachers, too much stress. Maybe you are feeling bored watching this. It's common for average people, but if you want to rise above average, then watch this till the end. From the first day I opened a textbook, I understood. Grades, recognition, winning itself, it's not chance, it's calculation. The world thinks genius is talent, wrapped in nice packaging. They never see the machinery underneath the habits forged in silence. The systems built in the hours when everyone else is recharging. You want that edge? Start by dismantling your comfort. If you're still here, you've already outlasted the easily discouraged. But don't deceive yourself every minute you hesitate. Someone else sharpens their intent. Remember that the next time you reach for your phone, or comfort, underscore, the first law is simple. Purge every distraction with absolute ruthlessness. I never left my success to willpower or fleeting discipline. If the phone could ring, it was powered down, locked away. If social media could tempt, it was erased. Passwords changed. The door to failure slammed shut before the day even began. My study space? Blank. Intentional. Stripped of anything that didn't serve. Not because it looked good, because it forced relentless focus. Most resist this. They cling to study playlists and messy comfort, then wonder why their efforts vanish by nightfall. I didn't negotiate with distraction. I destroyed it. It's easy to feel boredom, to chase stimulation as soon as the mind resists. But true genius is forged at boredom's edge. Every time the urge to zone out hit, I did something different. I scrutinized my own attention like a chessboard. Am I reading with intention? Or just marking time? Do I actually recall this? Or am I faking certainty? Most people respond to confusion with endless rereading. I closed the book, forced myself to reconstruct the answer from memory. Where I froze, that's where the work started, where my competition always gave up. Even the strongest routine will waver with time. Fatigue, failure, distraction, they visit everyone. What separates brilliant students from all the rest isn't that they never break down. It's that they respond with ruthless self-analysis. Not, why am I failing? But, where did my process leak? Every score, good or bad, was a new data point. If something broke under pressure, a topic, a method, a mindset, I rebuilt it before the next battle. Never the same mistake twice. No pride in perfection, just relentless evolution. You might wonder, doesn't this approach breed stress? Intensity? Loneliness? Maybe. But genius is lonely. Not because others are lesser, but because obsession prunes every distraction. I built my rituals to demand instant flow, starting always at the same time, always the same way. The brain, eager for routine, entered focus faster every day. No debate, no willpower drama. Sit, breathe, pick a concept, and begin. What are you still clinging to that keeps you ordinary? You know the answer. Replace one comfort tonight with discipline. It doesn't need applause. Quiet results are the most honest. Underscore. Time management isn't about budgets, apps, productivity hacks. It's about controlling your priorities under pressure. When the deadline stacked up, I trained for adversity, not comfort. Study with distractions in the background. Push harder when the room was noisy, work late, or wake early if pressure could happen. I simulated it, so shock became a weapon, not a setback. The mind that practices chaos is never rattled on exam day, but the true weapon is iteration. Each test, each assignment, wasn't about celebrating success but hunting for flaws. Where did I hesitate? Where were my notes unclear? How could my process get faster, sharper, lighter? Genius is not a fixed trait. It's a project you remake each week, each mistake, each result. The only shame is in delaying the upgrade. Maybe you want steps. Fine, here's what real genius looks like, applied. 1. Eliminate all distractions. Phone gone. Desk clear. No excuses. 2. Single, sharp target, one concept. Total mastery before moving on. 3. Test recall, rebuild from scratch. Never just passive review. 4. Simulate pressure train in adversity, not safety. 5. Hunt mistakes, fix process, not ego. Do this without compromise and see what others call impossible become routine. But don't confuse steps for a cure. They only matter when fused to action. Most will watch, nod, and return to bad habits. The few who act transform. Underscore. If anything here unsettles you, good. Discomfort is the price of growth. Leave a comfort zone behind and discover what you look like at maximum pressure. Underscore. When you begin to notice others asking how you do it, you'll realize it was never about talent. It was the grim refusal to tolerate weakness, the quiet decision over and over to abandon what didn't work. People talk about balance, about rewarding effort, but effort without outcome is just fatigue. You don't rise by being busy. You rise by tightening process until results are guaranteed, and then making impossible your only standard. Before this video ends, make change real. Clear your desk. Choose the hardest chapter. Ban your phone. Tackle discomfort with curiosity, not complaint. Right now, not after the video. Not tomorrow. Most will choose average again, but not you. If you act, you'll realize the world was only ever divided into two kinds of students. Those who wait for permission, and those who claim certainty, until nobody dares compete. Underscore. That's how you make genius inevitable. By designing the process, living the standard, and refusing to compromise no matter who's watching, and especially when nobody is. The world's top performers will call you lucky, robotic, obsessed. Let them. You'll know the truth. You became uncatchable by outlasting comfort, by treating uncertainty as data, and by making genius just the consequence of never giving in. That's the real secret. Studying like a genius isn't a set of techniques. It's a daily act of destruction of distraction, mediocrity, and self-doubt, until all that remains is progress and proof. If you're ready, begin now. Before the outro, before inspiration fades, leave a comfort behind and claim the habit that makes the next result yours, and yours alone.